Hello, welcome back to the Watford Way. Today, we're joined by Cardiff City fan Nathan, who is actually at Centre Parks at the moment. Nathan, how are things over there?
I am very well living life here in Woburn at the moment, pretty much in your neck of the woods, which is always great. Thanks so much for having me on, James, as well. And apologies about the setup for today. Got to be temporary, but we got to respect the grind, haven't we? Can't wait to talk Cardiff City. Can't wait to talk Watford. And yeah, thanks for having me on.
Good to have you on, Nathan. Have Centre Parks got all their Christmas decorations up? Is it looking very festive where you are?
Oh yeah. Oh yes, it's all in full spirit. Let's just say, in a much better spirit than it's been for Cardiff City this season. So that's all I'll say.
Yes. Yes, well, we'll come on to that in just a moment. Firstly, we have to talk about the Watford connection between both sides at the moment in Omar Riza. Obviously, he left Watford when Valerian Ismail was sacked quite a while ago. Now, of course, you have Tom Cleverley in charge of the Hornets at the moment. Can you give us a bit of insight into the sacking of Errol Bullitt, what happened there, and obviously the appointment of Omar Riza and why it's taken so long to either get a replacement in to replace him or obviously appoint Riza on a permanent contract? Just give us a bit of insight into what is happening at Cardiff City at the moment, because from the outside looking in, it looks like a little bit of a mess.
I'd probably say a bit of a mess is putting it very politely, so I'll try and keep it as brief as possible. What happened was last season, Errol Bullitt obviously had a steady run, got us into a bit of stability, which we haven't had for donkey's years. Then there was a lot of fan pressure, as expected. I was a victim of it myself, where we were really pressurising Dalman, Chew, and Mr. Tan upstairs as well to give him that extension. Tan eventually gave in around halfway through the summer, gave him a 2-year extension. Things did not go well at the start of the season. I think he lost the dressing room bullet. There was a lot of negative energy, heavy losses, so he got sacked, I think, in October. And ever since then, it's just been a firefight. It's been Omar Riza, obviously, got appointed from you guys, of course, as a first team coach, which I really backed as an appointment. I do rate him as a coach as well. So he's been brought in as the interim sort of manager, head coach, however you describe it there. He's done a really good job, that 5-0 pumping of Plymouth, and has also
Yes.
really revitalised going forward as well, which we didn't have under Bullet. But ever since then, the boards, it just seems like they've given up. Same with Vincent Tan. He just, well, there's just no care in the world there once again. No urgency to appoint a new manager. It's been 74 days now. So pretty much that's where the responsibility lies. My travel group, the supporters club, which they never usually get in. It's really serious. Supporters trust. Oh, my AirPods have gone. Goodbye. Um, Supporters Trust and also the Disabled Supporters Association and one other travel group. We've all written an open letter once again to Vincent Tan to basically say, what on earth is going on? This is completely unacceptable. And A, why haven't you appointed a new manager? B, when are you going to do so? And C, what's your long-term vision for the club, since we don't have a Scooby-Doo?
So, in regards to Omar Riza, what is his style of play? Because I see you picked up victories. You mentioned they're a big 5-0 over Plymouth. I think it was. You beat Portsmouth and Norwich as well this season. Obviously, we didn't see a lot of him at Watford because he was more in a background role under Valerian Ismail as kind of a assistant coach rather than obviously being the full permanent manager. So, yeah, give us a bit of insight into formation, style of play, intensity, and what we're expecting to see from Cardiff on Saturday.
So it's a bit tricky, mainly because of obviously what's happened over, I'd say, the last sort of couple of games. But what I will do is I'll take it from when he initially came in after Bullet was sacked, because obviously he was brought in, unlike the assistant manager role under Valerian Ishmael, he was actually brought in as a first team coach role. So
Right.
Tan obviously gave Bullet and his assistant the boot and said, right, Reza, there's the gig for you. You can get Ramsar as your assistant manager, who's been at the club for donkey's years. But at the start of the run, he's played the 4-2-3-1. Ruben Colwell as the sort of central attacking midfielder, centrepiece, ploughing it to the likes of Chris Willock, Anwar El Ghazi when he's fit, Ollie Tanner, who's been like a different player. And then obviously, like I describe as the vacant striker role, because Wilfred Kanga is just absolutely shocking at this level. But we have played Callum Robinson a lot in that role, who's been absolutely fantastic. Then we sort of had a midfield holding two just behind Ruben Colwill. That tends to be between David Turnbull, Joe Rolls when he's fit, Alex Robertson, who in my eyes has been one of our players of the season this season as well. And then a nice little back four. We also have the likes of Perry NG, who likes playing a lot of balls into the centre as well, who obviously came off by the back of a really good season last season. And then sort of that rotation at that left back as well, where it could be Callum O'Dowd, it could be Jamley Collins, it could be Joel Bagan. So it's pretty much a mismatch at the moment, as I like to describe. But there's some positions that have been solidified there, and that's where our quality comes from, really.
Interesting stuff. From a Watford perspective, Nathan, if you're not aware, we tend to play with, under Tom Cleverley, a back three, so three centre-backs, two wing-backs who play very, very advanced, almost as wingers at times. Then we'll have two kind of hold-in midfielders, two tens, and then a striker. So that is how Watford tend to play this season. So I'm interested to see, obviously, how the different shapes come up against each other. I want to talk about your transfer window as well, because I found it very interesting from the outside looking in, because you seem to bring in quite a lot of high profile names and some really experienced pros. Actually, Chris Willock you've mentioned, Callum Chambers, obviously formerly of Arsenal, El Ghazi you've mentioned today already as well. How are them players getting along? Because surely they must be on pretty high salaries considering the careers they've had. So I'm just interested to gauge from your perspective if they're performing up to the standards you maybe expected of them, and whether you actually agreed with the transfers when they happened at the time.
Yeah, so when obviously it came into the summer, I was actually predicting where we were going to be fighting the playoffs, obviously coming off from a decent season with stability, which we haven't seen in donkey's years at the club under Errol Bullitt. I thought this was a real strengthening one. Obviously, El Ghazi, we know what he's done at Aston Villa. I believe we got him from PSV Eindhoven. I believe he had a few problems there as well. Chris Willock, a proven championship name as well. Really good winger, had a great season at QPR over the last couple of years as well. Callum Chambers, obviously a household name if you remember him at Arsenal within the Premier League. He's never played at this level, but he's just always seemed to be a solid player. Gives us that bit of depth at centre back, especially when we sell Mark McGuinness to Luton for £10 million as well. But the one I was disappointed on obviously was Wilfred Kanga. Brought him in from Hertha Berlin on loan. Scored fairly good amount of goals on loan last season, playing in European football as well. But this season he's, well, you might as well put a post box up front and that would have scored more goals. Just completely static and stuck to the floor. One of the worst players I've ever seen in a Cardiff City shirt, to be quite frank. You never know, he could turn it round, but he's already been dropped and looks like he's going to be sent back in January. So that's not really such a good one there, but loan signings of the season has to be Anwar El Ghazi with his quality. He's really fitted well into that system, especially when Rees has come in and matched him up with Ollie Tanner on the other side, who's changed into a completely different player as well. He helped out by the creativity of Ruben Colwill in midfield, and of course Alex Robertson. How can I forget him? By far our signing of the season. The fact we only got him for £1 million after he was on loan at Portsmouth last season, we've moved him over here. Scored worldies, creativity fantastic. He's pretty much won games for us. He's been incredible.
Interesting stuff. I'm just sitting here wondering why you're so low in the table, because from what you've said there, you seem to be quite positive about the transfer window as a whole. And you currently sit 20th, Nathan, on 17 points, just 2 points above that dreaded relegation zone. Obviously, that isn't where you expected to be. I think you mentioned there you maybe even thought you might challenge for playoffs this season after that transfer window. It's probably quite a difficult question to answer, so I do apologise for asking, but what has gone wrong this season? Why have you been on such a woeful run of form? Is it just the uncertainty around maybe Omar Reza being in that interim role, or is there something deeper at the club that really needs to be addressed?
To be honest, mate, I think you've hit both aspects on the head there, and I really thank you for asking me this question as well. So the certainty with Omar Reza, obviously he's going to play and impact it with him. He's said a lot in the press as well. He doesn't have a clue what's going on. He's recently gone over to Malaysia. to meet Vincent Tan, which never happens ever
Yeah, you know
with
what? I
any
have to stop
manager.
you there because obviously I follow him on Instagram, obviously from his
Hmm.
Watford days, and I saw him posting some stories from Malaysia, and I did find that really intriguing because Watford's owner, a bit like Vincent Tan, it sounds like, is quite reserved and doesn't really speak that much publicly. So yeah, to see him going all the way over to Malaysia to have talks is really interesting. Do you know what them talks were about specifically, or are you completely clueless to that situation?
I'd like to say I know what they were about, but that's just mainly reading off speculation and stuff. But to be honest, I don't have a clue. So, in the past, when Vincent Hans invited a manager over, I think the last couple he's done it with is Neil Harris, and also I think it was Neil Warnock before then as well, which
Wow.
just goes to show how bad it was because you've had like 7 managers since then. But that's another thing. I don't get why you guys get so much stick for managers when we hire double the amount to you. But yeah, when it means a manager goes over there, it means that they're about to get the job. But ever since then, we've heard absolutely nothing. In fact, it seems like we're in a worse position. But the one thing I will give, going back to your other question as well, is that's what's massively embedded in it. At the end of the day, the reason that we're in this situation is because of upstairs. It's the mismanagement from both board level and also Vincent Tan, which leads me back to obviously the open letter that was sent out the other day. Everyone knows the story of Vincent Tan running the club. In my personal opinion, not to be negative or to blast my own club, I actually do think we have one of the worst owners in the 92. I've been pretty consistent since 2012 with the amount of protests and also my opinion on it. I've wanted him out since 2012. By far the most diabolical owner I have ever seen, which is saying something considering we've had Sam Hammam and also Peter Ridsdale before that as well. And yeah, in my eyes, he's been absolutely shocking. He's the main reason we got all the problems there. And to be honest, I think time's up.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, very interesting stuff from Nathan there. What did that letter contain specifically? Was it a call for him to actually sell the club, or was it more just for more investment into the playing squad and obviously confirmation on who the permanent manager will be? Is that what the letter was kind of getting at?
So, because it was from the supporters club, and obviously that's the travel club I'm part of. So,
Okay.
they got a massive partnership with a club where they offer discounted travel. They do like an offer with £25 per away day, pretty much.
Okay.
So they always like to tone things down, and they never like to get involved with sort of the ownership squabbles and all that, etc. But they were tied into this one as well, and pretty much to summarise the letter, it was broken down into 3 areas. So, what's the situation with Omariza? What's your long-term plan, and essentially where are you at with the recruitment stage? And ever since then, we've had absolutely no answers from that. So, as far as I'm concerned, we just need those answers. And the fact that it hasn't been answered yet, and it's taken 73 days, and that letter to happen is just disgraceful in my eyes.
Yeah, thanks for giving us for that information. Hopefully, that all gets resolved for you, Nathan. Switching the focus to Watford before we get on to your score prediction. Obviously, Watford flying high in the Championship at the moment, which is great to say after the past couple of seasons, which have been pretty dismal. I think we sit sixth currently in the Championship, so just inside of them playoff positions under Tom Cleverley. Nathan, by the way, we are 15 games unbeaten at Vicarage Road, which is yeah, an unbelievable statistic. But for you guys to know, we're absolutely woeful away from home. I think we've picked up, well, yeah, 2 wins away from home this season. One on the opening day against Millwall, and then obviously you might have seen our demolition job over Sheffield Wednesday, that 6-2 victory. But other than them 2 games, we really are piss poor, Nathan, away from home. What are your thoughts on Watford this season from the outside looking in? Are there any players you particularly like? And what are your thoughts on Tom Cleverley as a manager as well?
So obviously, when Tom Cleverley came in, I was a bit sceptical because obviously it was his first job. He's been involved in the coaching system there. We obviously know his ties and history to the club as well. And personally, from past, well, everyone knows from past experience, you've got to have the concerns whether he's going to be given enough time. How quickly can he implement his style of play? Will he get the players on side? And to be honest, I think he's done a really good job, especially from. I'm really comparing it to your Premier League days. Not much transfer activity there and building from what he's got, and using the likes of Bio, who I'm going to say he's my favourite player for you guys. Just absolutely incredible what he's done
Really?
this
He's
season.
he's my least favourite player.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's interesting. You've said that.
That is because I don't know why. Whenever I watch Watford, Porteous I do kind of rate as well, but Bio always seems to me that he's always there causing, like, he caused us terrible trouble when I went up to Vicarage Road. I think it was back in January, February this year. He
Yeah.
was all over us, and then Josh Bowler just pops up with that absolute worldie on the left peg. But I don't know how we won that game, to be honest, but yeah, he's definitely one to watch out for. Um, but as far as I'm concerned, fantastic job. It's pretty much like everyone in the championship, where you're absolutely solid at home, and then away you can be a bit patchy. But as you said, 6-2, fantastic against Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah. Bio with
And
4 goals in that game, to be fair to him. So yeah, I have to give him credit for that.
100%. That's why I picked him out as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, he's brilliant, to be fair. But yeah, as long as you keep doing what you're doing, maybe use it as a transitional period or transitional season. I never like to say that to certain content creators, because I know that when people say transition, I'm the worst for it, honestly. So if you can use this as a transitional period, maybe bring some more legs in the summer, I think you could have a good shot next season.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, the expectations from Watford fans generally at the start of the season was mid-table, like 15th to 10th, really. We weren't expecting too much. As you say, I think we were just expecting a transitional season under Tom Cleverley. Obviously, not getting dragged into a relegation scrap as we were last season. We just wanted a bit more solidity, but actually, we've exceeded by far, all our expectations. And yeah, at the moment, we're in the mix for them playoff positions. I mentioned earlier, obviously, our home form is fantastic. 15 games now unbeaten at Vicarage Road. We just need to turn some of these losses away from home into draws, or even better, into victories now. So I'm hoping we can do that in Cardiff on Saturday afternoon. Nathan, score prediction time. We ask every guest who comes on the channel for their score prediction. I'll go first, and I'm going to go with a 1-1 Watford draw. Usually I'm quite positive, but because we're away from home, looking at our previous record away at Cardiff as well, it's not particularly great. I remember a decent win in lockdown during COVID times, but other than that, I think it's been pretty poor. So I'll go with a 1-1 draw. Nathan, you're the home team. Obviously, you've explained all of Cardiff's issues so far this season. What are you expecting from the game?
Interesting. So there's a lot going on at the moment, and I never like to be negative about my club. I want to go for the heart, but unfortunately, I'm going to go for the head. I have seen, for example, our attendance for this weekend, fan comments, and just sort of the situation at the moment. So it really does pay me to say this, but I'm going to go 2-1 to Watford.
Come on. Come on. That is what we like to hear, Nathan. And is that just because of the negativity around the club at the moment? Is that kind of why you're going with that?
Yeah, I'm just going to go that with the negativity. What tends to happen with us a lot as well, in particular the last couple of years, is if things don't go well, the attendances drop. And someone sent me a tweet earlier of the amount of tickets sold for this weekend, and I was like, oh my God, we're not winning. So it's pretty much the reason why.
Okay, interesting stuff from Nathan. Now, of course, Nathan, you have your own YouTube channel, which I think you put the name of in your name tag there, actually. What type of content do you create, and where can people find you on socials?
So that's what's written down there. So NWNYC, I just pretty much put whatever on there, mainly Cardiff City stuff, and whatever else you like to let's have a look at. And sub to NWM on, of course, YouTube as well. So where I get down with the Cardiff City vlogs, do all that sort of jazz, all the away days, everything you guys want to see, and hopefully you'll have a nice little win to upload on Saturday/Sunday. But yeah, that's amazing. Thanks so much for having me on, bud.
Good stuff. Enjoy the rest of your week at Centre Parks, Nathan. Go down the rapids a few more times. Is the food nice? The drinks all right as well?
Yeah, having a class week, just had a year takeaway then. So there's going to be
what
some
takeaway was it?
What's that? Sorry.
What takeaway?
So I had a Chinese. So I had the duck chow mein and the ribs, which is always cracking. So.
Fantastic stuff, Nathan. Thank you very much for coming on. Really do appreciate it. And yeah, as Nathan said, you can check out his YouTube channel, and he will be uploading, hopefully, a loss from Cardiff City at the weekend. Fingers crossed. So yeah, once again, Nathan, thanks for coming on, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.